never coached a kid I didn't like.
Yep.
I wanted nothing but the best from all of these kids and hope that they become successful. Some of them worked at the hospital. Some of them have their own podcasts. So, I'm in touch with most of the guys that I played with in your age. It's continued. There's a few that I've lost touch with, probably because they're not on social media.
Yep.
But, that when I sent you that picture on Messenger a couple of weeks ago, that wasn't the only one I sent out.
Really?
I sent a bunch out.
Well, you might have to make a folder for all of us to get, because I think it'd probably be one of those ones where it'd bring back a lot of memories, because I know seeing that picture of me with a mohawk, for those of you that don't know, I used to actually have hair.
Yeah, me too.
The amount of memories that flow back just from that year. And as we talked before the podcast, you weren't even a part of the team at that point.
No.
You had moved on and, were dealing with your family and, your career and your job. And, you weren't a part of that year, but you created that culture for that year from the years prior.
Culture is important. As in the business world, I've owned some insurance offices. I've managed some insurance offices. Culture is everything.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. We talked about looking for that greener grass.
Yep.
And you go in there and you have this interview with the guy, and he really wants to recruit you to come and work for his insurance business or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And you leave for $2,000 because you think the grass is greener, but the fact is the grass is pretty green where it is.
Yep.
And I find it hard to believe that a valued employee couldn't go into his boss and say, "Listen, I was just over at the Luke and Irish.
Mm-hmm.
Luke and Irish said they're going to give me $2,000 more.
Yep.
If you match, it'll stay."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think enough of those conversations are going on. Since my health scare,
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot of soul searching, and certainly with the help of my wife, and I have two focuses now.
Mm-hmm.
One's health, and the other one's happiness.
Yep.
And when I think back then, I just love being around hockey rinks.
Mm.
50 of the last 55 years, I've been around hockey rinks, and whereas it was a very healthy place for me to be.
Mm.
It was a very healthy place for me to be because for a number of reasons, and the stories and the memories and are certainly one thing, but it's kind of like your safe place.
Mm-hmm.
So in my safe place, at least within what I thought my responsibility was to provide a safe place for the players that were in my world, but provide a safer place for the people who stepped out of my world. Mm-hmm. Such as that player who had an issue.
Yeah.
And and I think I've been hundreds of players that I've had over the years, and be it Junior Knights, London Rebels, where I won my first OHF championship, Oak Ridge, Brydges, a little time in Belmont, head coach of the Exeter Hawks. There's a great memory from all of these people,
mm-hmm.
and I'm still in touch with pretty much. I'm not going to say most, but it's safe to say that I would be in touch with 70% of the players I had played for.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly of that OHF. We won all Ontario. We were the last London Rebels team before they became Junior Knights, and our captain ended up painting this great big London Rebels crest on his backyard. And in the true spirit of crazy hockey people, guys climbing on the roof with their phones trying to take pictures of this thing. It's on my Facebook. It was, all those guys are all successful people. Mm-hmm. They might swear too much, and they might have had a cigarette because they saw their coach have one, or they might have had too many beers because they know that the coach liked he played his heart off the ice, he did on the ice. Let's just call it that. But I'm proud of everybody. I think coaching hockey is there are so many people who might make it into it for the power. Mm-hmm. There are people that get into it so that they could sell the dreams to the people that I'll turn your kid into an OHA player. It's a beautiful game. There are some people that I don't believe. I think they got it wrong. Mm-hmm. There's a greater responsibility than just to make sure the kid shows up a half hour before time. There's a greater responsibility just to rip the shit out of a kid because he did something wrong on the ice. Mm-hmm. And guess what? He made a mistake. Not only did he make a mistake, what happened at school that day?
Yeah.
You know, am I the second person to rip this kid today?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did his teacher, did his parent, did his father give him, write him about something?
Mm-hmm.
Before you fly off the handle as a coach, and I would hope that the position has evolved and people have actually realized that I don't think you coach a team anymore, you coach the individuals, which applies in business as well, to find what buttons you need to push to motivate them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I didn't say I reinvented the wheel by my coaching methods. We did have a lot of success. We took hockey teams that weren't successful and we turned them into the talk of the league.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that my first year there.
Yep.
And I let Mark Campbell go.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I didn't like Mark Campbell. I thought he was a gentleman. And I think the world of him. Every time I see him, we have a great conversation.
Yep.
But the players wouldn't listen to the message. The message was right. He just wasn't selling it right.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was the guy. You'd know better than I would, because like I said, your room was your room. But I don't think he wasn't the guy who jumped up and down and yell and scream. He's very level-headed.
Yep.
Every once in a while you have to emphasize a few points, for the lack of a better term. But the message all has to be healthy, and I'm convinced 100% that all Mark's messages would have been healthy.
Yeah, the ones that had to do the yelling and screaming normally was after he walked out of the room. It was me and some of the other veterans having to get those young guys, crack the whip and get them going, because Mark wouldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's but I think what you guys learned that are taught to those younger players is that you have to be accountable to your team, right? Which is critical. You can't take a shift off.
No.
You never took a shift off in your life, right? And that's just like lead by example, right?
Yep.
And some people need to see it. Well, I've been on the bench here for whatever. So, you're 17 years old. Guess what happens when you're 18?
Yeah.
Guess what happens when you're 19? Guess what happens when you're 20? When you're 20, you're going every second shift. You're sleeping beside Joey in the shower because I played you for 40 minutes tonight.
Yeah, I remember one of the kids. I think it might have actually been after Mark. The year after Mark was coaching, was sitting there complaining he was sitting on the bench. Mm-hmm. And I went through, killed a penalty, then got a break even strength, and all of a sudden we got a power play and I'm on for another 2 minutes. You trying to bury me out on the ice. And after
said play me till I drop. So I tried.
And he'd sat there after the game and he was dejected and he only got 8-10 minutes, whatever it was, and he was 16 years old. And he goes, "Why are you getting all the ice time?" And he said, "I was 14 years old on a championship winning team. And the only reason why I got a ring is because I sat on the bench." Like, I'd get a shift a game. I was a defenseman my entire life. That year we won, I played forward. It was Mark Johnson, Adam Cole, and me. 3 14-year-olds as the fourth line guys. And if they wanted energy, we went on the ice. If not, that was it. Let the dogs out! Yeah.